Welcome back. Let's talk about distributed design in Fusion 360. What we're going to do is this little Towers of Hanoi toy where we have these little donut things that fit on these pegs, and we'll set up some joints between these donuts so that when you turn one, another one will turn, and we can set up a gear ratio using motion links. So distributed design is when you have several people working on a larger project and each person does some small designs, and then you can combine those designs together into a larger design in various ways by making copies of the files and also by referencing files. And if you reference files, then when the designer of the part being referenced makes a change, then that change is automatically updated in the final design. So it's a little bit complicated, but I'll try and go through all of the steps in detail and what that looks like in the Fusion environment, as well as the web-based file browser thing they have. I think it's called Fusion Hub or Fusion Team, something like that. Anyway, this is the design file that we're going to do, and then we're going to make a couple drawings. Here's the assembly drawing with a little table listing all the parts, and then these little balloons pointing to the parts. Then we'll make several drawings of each of the individual parts. So there's the base, and here's one of the donuts, and then there'll be two more drawings of donuts for this thing. Okay, so I'll move this off to my secret hidden monitor and pull up Fusion 360. Now when that comes up, you're going to be in a team. Now the teams are over here, and right now I have 3 possible teams that I could be using. So I have a student account, and for my student account, where I'm pretending to be a student, I've made this team called Team DR Student. Then for this project, I've made a Team Prof Ross at Bob Bob. Now that's the one I want you to use for this assignment and most likely for the project itself. But before we go into there, let's just look at what that looks like on the web. So if you click this little open on the web button, it pulls up your browser and shows you what you have in your team. So there's things that you own, and then there's things that are shared with you. So if this is your personal team, then probably nothing's been shared with you. Well, except for these 2 folders, which are sort of built into Fusion 360. I guess these are what you could say these are owned by Fusion 360 and shared with you, but they're not a person. They're just shared with you by the system, I guess you could say. Anyway, that's what your team looks like right now. And if you click this F button, you go into administration mode. I think. Let's see. No, here's how you go into administration mode. You click this admin button because this is your personal team. So you own this team and you can do whatever you want. That is, you can admin it, administer it. You can mess with the members and projects and things. So anyway, this is your own personal team and what that looks like. But for this project, you want to join this group team that I've set up for you. I've called it Team Prof Ross at Bob Bob. So you click on that and it flips over here and you can see the projects that I've created. And for some reason it defaults into this particular project. I don't know why, but let's just back up to the home here in the data panel. And what you see is I've created this Gearbox Group 1 project. So that's a group project that I've created in my instructor account. So I have 2 accounts. I have an instructor account and a student account. And right now in Fusion 360, I'm logged into my student account. Okay, so I'm in my student account, but I'm viewing the team that was created by my instructor account. All right, so that's what I want you to do. Each of you is going to have a student account that you created when you initially installed Fusion 360, and that's what you should have been using to this point. But for this project and for the group project, for the semester group project, I want you to select this Team Prof. Ross at Bob Bob, which is a team that I created as the instructor. So I used my instructor account to create that. Okay, I hope that makes sense. Now you can still view it. You notice you only have one icon here. You can open it on the web, but you can't administer it. So we'll click this, it'll open on the web, and it opens this same interface, but for the other team that I'm in, right? You can also view the teams that you're in right here by clicking this little icon, and you can see right here, this is my student account, so I'm pretending to be a student here. But right now I'm looking at the Bob Bob account, which is the account that I created as the instructor for the entire, to use for the entire class. Okay, so I hope that makes sense. Ignore this other one down here. This one is kind of my first account. It's an experimental account. Please don't get into that because it creates problems. Just pretend that doesn't exist. Anyway, so here we have no admin. See, we just have my account settings, but there's no admin button because you don't, as a student, you won't own this team. You'll just be able to get inside and look at certain things that are shared with you, but you don't actually own it, all right? So let's see here, you don't own anything if you go click the owned by me, but there's a couple of things that are shared with you. So the default project in the Bob Bob team, that's shared with you. There's this assets shared with you in Group Gearbox 1. All right, if you get inside Group Gearbox 1, I've actually put some designs in here, or documents, I guess they're called sometimes. You can also upload other things. So you could upload text files and AutoCAD files, like for the gears, for example, right? Some people are going to be doing gear designs, and this is one way to share those things. So my intent for this folder here, or this project, Gearbox Group 1 project, is that this is where I want you to put all the things that you are going to share with your group. Okay? So, yeah, so let's go back to Fusion. So we're in the Bob Bob team. We have a Gearbox Group 1 project, and if we double click that, these are the things that your instructor has shared with you, the student. And right now I'm pretending to be a student. Okay, I hope that makes sense. Okay, so this Gearbox Group 1 project is shared with everybody in the group. So anything you put in here will be visible and actually editable by anybody in the group. Okay, so you should know that. Keep that in mind. If you put anything in here, somebody else can change it. So that's dangerous, right? So you really want a folder that's your own folder. Or sometimes I use the word folder, but I guess really it's a project is the correct term. So make a new project is what I'm saying. So click this, make sure you're in the team here, in the correct team, and then click this new project button and name this with your student ID. So this is my student ID, and don't forget to hit enter. Okay, then this is visible by everybody in the group, but they can't get inside of it and actually see what's inside of this project unless you invite them. So what I'd like you to do is get into this guy and click on people, and then type in this is the instructor's account that he, which is me, used to create the group. All right, fusion.f20. Oh, it's at. Sorry, a little slow here, but fusion.f20@bobbob.net. Okay, that's the instructor's email account for this semester. So invite the instructor. And there you go. So okay, so now this is the student. This is you as a student, or me as a student, and then this is the instructor. So basically, you've created a student folder or student project, and then shared it with the instructor. Okay, so anything you put in this folder now will be visible to just me and you. That is you, the student, and me, the instructor. Now, don't invite anybody else. Okay, so you can think of this as this project, this W000. Use your student ID, of course, but you can think of that as your personal folder for this team. Okay, your personal folder for this group team. Okay, so all right. So then let's make a project. We're going to build this little Hanoi thing. So I'm going to, I have a default, project right here. So first thing you got to do is save it. Let's save this as Hanoi assembly. Okay, I'm going to put it in this W project. Okay, and it shows up here, Hanoi assembly. And it's thinking right now. You got the little thing going, syncing with the web, version 1. Okay, there it is. I just made this guy. Okay, now, well, just to reiterate, this guy is in your W folder, so it's only visible to you, the student, and your instructor. Right? Let's back up and we'll go to this group Gearbox folder, which contains documents that are visible to everybody. All right, and we'll take this base design that somebody designed. I wonder who, but the instructor did actually. But take this base design and drag it over here, okay, and just drop it into your Hanoi assembly design. All right, the other way to do that is to right-click it and select Insert into Current Design. Okay, so we've linked it basically. Okay, we've linked this design. It's not a copy, it's a link. So any changes to the base design will get reflected in this assembly that you're doing. That's one of the ideas of distributed design. All right, now we have this donut, but there's only one donut. We need 3 donuts of 3 different sizes. All right, so what we're going to do here is we're going to copy this guy. That's the other way to share designs in this distributed design thing. So we're going to right-click this, and we're going to copy this to W000, well, to your W account, your private project in this group, in this team, your private project in this team. So we'll copy that, okay, and we'll copy it 1 more or 2 more times. We'll copy it again to W000, well, your W account. Copy that again, and then we'll copy this again 3 times because we need 3 donuts. Make sure you're putting it in the right spot. Now let's get out of this Gearbox 1 group and go see if our donuts are actually in there in the W group. And I'll get in there, and there they are. So I have 3 donuts and the assembly, right? See what's happening? So I'm making this assembly, which is going to have 4 parts in it. And the base part is linked to some other file, but the 3 donut parts are copies. Just to give you an example of as far as I can tell, what are the 2 ways to share work in this distributed design methodology. Now, by the way, if you've taken a C++ class and you've learned about inheritance and multiple inheritance and fragile superclass scenario and all of these problems, all of the pros and cons of this kind of thing, it's very reminiscent of that. And if you haven't taken a C++ in your class and you haven't learned that, then if you ever do, it'll make more sense to you. And while I'm talking about that, there's some problems with this methodology, which have all been discovered in over the decades with C++. Like C++, it's nice to have all of these inheritance features, but there's also problems with it, and I don't think that they've thought the problems through in Fusion 360 yet. But anyway, that's fine. Okay, look, so we got 3 donuts. I'm going to rename them. So I'll rename this first guy large donut. Don't forget to hit enter. And right click, rename, go to the beginning, medium donut, enter, and right click this thing, rename. Move your cursor to the beginning, small donut. Enter. So I got all these three donuts. So these are, I created these guys by copying them, so they're independent basically at this point of anything else. And now let's bring them onto our Hanoi assembly. We'll drag the large donut in there. Okay. And we'll, at this point, hit escape. And then at this point, go to the assemble thing just to keep everything organized and click this joint thing. And, hover over here and grab that, and then grab that, and then select cylindrical joint. So cylindrical joint can rotate and slide, and it does this little animation for you to check if that's in fact what you want, and it is, so we say okay. All right, then go over to the medium donut and drag that guy in. So we're linking essentially this donut design into a assembly design. Okay, then escape, and then click assemble and do joint. And if you can, grab the, I think it brought it in at the origin, which is this there. I think that's it. That, and here, if you can, I must have missed it. Let me try it again. So assemble, joint. Maybe I need to rotate around like this. I want that, and then I want that. Yeah, that's what I want. Okay, then bring in the small guy. Drag the small guy in, small donut. And there he is, and we'll escape to get rid of the move dialog, and then go up to assemble joint. Click that, and then click up in here. It's another cylindrical joint, which you could change here, but we don't need to change it. So click OK. All right. Now, so I need to change these two donuts. I need to change them. So we'll double click the medium donut and open it up as a design. Okay, then get into the sketch and double click the sketch, so we're editing the sketch. Let's see, zoom out here a little bit. Now double click this diameter here and make it 1.5. And then we got to move this hole now, so we got to make it smaller too. So we'll make it, oh, I don't know, what do you think? 0.375. Let's try to see how that looks, and maybe scoot it over a little bit. 0.375. Yeah, it looks, okay. Right. So finish the sketch, and the donut is, smaller now. And so we'll save it. Save the design for your medium donut. If you go back to the assembly, now you see this little this little warning sign saying that the medium donut design has been changed. So you need to update that. Okay, so you go up to this this thing here, and you just click it. Or I could have right clicked this and select update. Anyway. Okay, so it updated, made it smaller. Now let's do the same thing with the small donut. So we'll double click the small donut design, and then get into this sketch and shrink this down to 1 inch diameter. Shrink this hole down way like 0.25, and then shrink this. Let's try 0.25. Oh, that's too small. How about 0.375? Oh, it's too big. How about medium bare, 0.3125? That's just right. Okay, then finish the sketch and the design, the extrusion, updates. Then when you go back to the Hanoi assembly, well, you got to save it. You got to save the donut design first, or it won't see the changes. So save it. Now we're on version 2 of Little Donut. Changes to version 2 in a bit. Come on, there it goes. Then go to Hanoi assembly, and now you see this same little warning sign. Okay, then so you right click this and click get updates, and it should change. There it goes. All right. So, you know, that's one of the cool things about this distributed design is these base designs, I'll call them, because they're kind of like base classes in C++. But these base designs, when they change, those changes can be updated in the assembly. So here, these designs, you own them. You made copies, and then now you own them. But so I'm using the term base twice here. So sorry about that. But this base, the actual base of this toy, is could be shared potentially by many people. Right, because this is in the group Gearbox project, which is shared with everybody on the team. Right, so if the designer of this base, this Hanoi base thing, changes that, then it would propagate through everybody's design. Okay, so hopefully you guys will experience those kinds of issues when you're doing the larger project for this class. Okay, so let's get back into our private student thing. So here, once again, these are only visible to the student and the instructor that you've shared it with, just these two people. Let's go back in this group thing and look at the people. Now, right now, I've only shared it with 2 people, but you should see your whole group in here once I share that. That's the instructor. Okay, hope this isn't too confusing. What are we doing now? Okay, let's get back into this thing, your private student full project. Get back in there. All right, let's add some motion links on this thing. Oh, before we do that, here, go to inspect here, turn on component color cycling. It does this, and it doesn't work that great. They're all yellow. But anyway, go up here so they're not all yellow. Go up here and go right click and go cycle component color, and then this one here, go to the small donut and go cycle component color, just so that they're different. Yeah, see, it doesn't work that great. You got to cycle a couple of times. There we go, just so that they're different looking. All right, now let's make some motions on these things. But right now we can do that. No, we can't. Here, Control Z. Here, go to the base, right click it and ground it. Okay, and it adds a little pin there. So now you can't move it, but you can move these things. See, I can slide this up and down, and I can turn it. And likewise, this guy, I can slide it up and down and turn it, and this one too. All right, and then you can revert to the original position. Let's add some what's called motion links. This allows us to define relative motion between 2 objects, like gears, for example, if we were doing gears, which we're going to do later. But anyway, so click this motion link. It wants you to select 2 joints. So we'll click that, and then we can define the relative motion between these 2 things. So let's put them both on slide Z, right? So and then reverse, and then make sure these 2 numbers are the same. Like, it doesn't matter what they are. It's really a ratio between the numbers, as long as they're the same. If you want a 1-to-1 ratio, make them the same. Okay, that looks pretty good. Okay, now when I do this, when I go up and down, the other one goes the same distance, opposite direction. Okay, let's revert and let's add another motion joint, motion link rather. So same 2 joints, but this time we're gonna do a rotate, and let's do a 2-to-1 ratio. So we got 360 degrees for the first guy, and then let's make this 180 degrees for the second guy, and you can see the animation. That's what it's doing. So for every turn of this yellow one, this other one here turns twice. I don't know what color that is. Looks just, I don't know, pink. Okay, so that's that. Then we'll go assemble another motion link and click this and this, and do another rotate about the z-axis, rotate about the z-axis, do another 2 to 1. So we'll make 360 and 180. Okay. So it's, I should have left the animation going, but you see when this thing turns once, the yellow one will turn half and the cyan one will turn 1/4 of a turn. You can even click this top view so it's a little easier to see what's going on there. Right, as you turn this guy once, you know, the yellow one turns a half and the cyan one turns a quarter. Super fun. And let's see, and it also does the linear thing too. It does this opposite thing on there, right? So there's our joints, they're in here, and our motion links are in here as well. So that's pretty much it. Capture the screen and turn this in, but we also need some assembly drawings. So let me do those real quick. So the best way to do these is have the design open first, and then go to this button here and then click drawing and from design. Now for the template, I've created a template for this class. Now I've already selected it, so I don't have to browse for it. I can just select it directly. But if you did the first time, you need to browse. And I think I put it in, I put it in here. I put it in the group Gearbox 1. So select that. And then click OK. Then you get, come on, you get that. All right, I made this nice little title blocks, kind of groovy. So change the scale to 1:1 is good for this, and then change it to the home view on the orientation, right, like that, and plop it right down there, and then press enter. Okay, then go up to tables and click the table button, and then just plop this guy right here. Then click it to select it, and then double click it after you click it once to select it, then double click it and turn off description and material because they're kind of useless, and close that. Then it makes these balloons for you, which is cool, but they're all, the AI or whatever is not smart enough to make it look pretty. So move them around a little. Move this move them so that it's a little easier for us humans to see what the heck's going on. Like, why is this 2 crossed way over there, you know? For example, and this 1, what the heck is that pointing to? So move it over here. It should really be pointing down here, right? Yeah. All right, so do that so it's, maybe this one too. Do that so it's easier to see what these balloons are pointing to. Okay, that's the assembly drawing, and let's see, you don't really have to change anything in here on the title block. Okay, then let's do the donuts. So I'll open up my donut and then go to design, drawing, from design, same template, click OK. Let's do 1:1. Plop it right there, and then OK. Okay, then go up to this thing here, this projected view, click it. It wants the parent view, which is this guy, and then as you move the mouse, it automatically generates these orthographic and isometric views. So let's throw an ISO right up here, and we'll put the top view, let's call it, up here. All right, and then press enter. Then throw some dimensions on there. So let's see, where are they? Here they are. Do the do a diameter, throw the diameters on, click that thing. It's really pretty, super easy. Yeah, so here, there's a clearance on this, right? It's 0.27, which is fine. And the peg coming out of the base is 0.25. So there's 20 thousandths or 0.020 clearance between the shaft and the hole, right? So if you 3D printed this or made it by any manufacturing process, but it's been my experience that 20 thousandths seems to be a good clearance for most 3D printers for this kind of design. All right, then this guy right there, put that on there. And then we need the thickness, so that's a linear dimension. Linear dimension. You can just click these two endpoints, and then right there, boom. I think that's it. Oh, no, we need the distance between the holes, right? So I'm still in the linear dimension command, center, center, and then this guy. Yeah, that fully defines the part, right? Two holes, outer diameter, distance between these two circles or two holes, and the thickness. That's enough, right? So somebody could make this part with this. It's called large donut. That's cool. And there's my name. So that's great. So do that a couple more times for the next two donuts. So you should have this thing. You should have. Oh, did I do the base? I didn't do the base. No, you need the base. Here, let's open up the base. Come on. Oh, that's the assembly. The base is over. Base is over here. I could open up that base. Okay, and then I can go design, drawing, from design, and the same template. Nothing new here except the fact that this is linked to a shared design. So if somebody changes that base, then this drawing will need to be updated. I guess that's not that big of a deal. It should be fine. What do I want? 1 to 2 maybe? Yeah, 1 to 2 is a good size. So drop this, say there, and enter. Then go to these projected views, and here's the parent view, and then I want that view, and then probably this view would be good, and then just to help, let's see, let's hit enter, and then let's do, I want the smaller ISO, but I don't know how to change the scale on this right now. And I don't really feel like messing with that. But if you could figure out how to change the scale, that'd be great. But anyway, let's just throw some dimensions on there. And so let's see. This guy, it's really easy. You know, it's like crazily easy. It'd be better to do a circular dimension on that guy. But let's finish up these linear dimensions. Okay, let's see. So it's width, height, width, length, thickness. We need to fully define this thing. So let's see. Let's put the diameter on this thing here. So here, you know, the easiest thing to do is put a text box and say 3 times. Okay, let me just move this up here like that. So that's just less cluttered way to dimension that. And so I also we need the height of these things, right? If somebody was trying to make this, they'd need to know that. Let's put right here, I guess. Maybe we could put it here. That's good. All right. Then we need the locations of these holes. So probably the best way to do that would be maybe center to center. And another, let me zoom in here, another center to center, like that. Then probably center to here, that'd be good. It's got too many arrows. Yeah. I don't really like, but anyway, that's good enough. That's enough. Somebody could make the part from this. There's an assumption that these circles are on the center line, so you don't really need to dimension those. I think there's a way to draw a line in here and set it to center line. Oh, here we go. So I could, it's not letting me, I don't know. You can mess with that if you want. All right, that's pretty much it. So, let me save these to see where these guys go. Let me save this. So don't put it in the group, right? Because then somebody could copy you, right? Put it in your private one, right? Save it there, right? Let me close that. This base, that's a shared part. Just close that up. Okay, this guy here, you got to save that as well. Once again, don't put this in the, don't put it in the group file. Put it in the, put it in your private one that only me and you and your instructor can see. I'll save that. And then I'll close it. And this has already been saved, and this needs to be saved. Once again, put that in your W. We'll save that. We'll close it. And this we can close. This we can close. This we can close. And that's it. All right. So in the just before we leave here, so we've got the group one, just what we started with. And then we've got your personal project, and this has the stuff you did for this assignment. Okay, so I'd like you to kind of work like that for the group project. That is, put your personal stuff in your W folder so that only me and you can see it. And then if there's anything you want to share with the group, right, any parts that you design that other people need to use to complete their total design, what I suggest you do is you design them first in the W group, right? Design them first in the W group, and then put a copy in the Gearbox group for people to share. Because anything you put in the Gearbox group is editable by anybody, right? So you don't have any control over the designs you've created. As far as I can tell, there's kind of a lot of problems with this methodology in terms of just keeping inadvertent mistakes from getting propagated through, but they need to figure that out. And the guys that are coding up this Fusion thing, all the coders, hope they've hired an architect that has some experience with these kinds of things so they can get it straight. All right, anyway, I think that's it. All right. Can't think of anything else to say. I hope this was a useful video. We'll see you later. Bye-bye.